What's going on YouTube? So the Toyota Highlander has been one of the very most popular family SUVs for over 20 years. Now the current Highlander is a great family SUV for almost all types of families, but with one exception. That exception is if you need to use the third row all the time, which is why Toyota is introducing the all-new Grand Highlander for 2024. Larger, more luxurious, and higher tech than any Highlander to come before it. Is this new Grand Highlander the best family SUV money you can buy? Let's go ahead and take a first look to find out. So we wanted to start off today's video by taking a look under the hood because there's a lot of exciting things under the hood of this all-new Grand Highlander. So this is going to be available in 3 trims with 3 different powertrain options. So the trim levels, XLE, Limited, and Platinum. Now let's talk about the 3 powertrains. The base motor is going to be the 2.4-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, should make pretty similar power as the current Highlander. You'll also have a traditional hybrid system, so that's Toyota's 4th generation hybrid system with the 2.5-liter 4-cylinder engine. But what's really exciting is what's under the hood of this example here. This is the Hybrid Max system. So that's combining a 2.4-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine with a much more powerful hybrid system. Total system output is actually going to be 362 horsepower and 400 pound-feet of torque. So obviously that's some pretty serious power for a vehicle in this segment, and it's pretty much shared the same system as the RX 500h performance model. Now Toyota does say the 0 to 60 of this hybrid system will be 6.3 seconds, making it their most powerful mid-size SUV. Now, of course, we're in a studio taking a very first look at this in Chicago today, so we don't have full figures. But Toyota does say that this can achieve up to 34 miles per gallon with the standard version of the hybrid system, which of course is another very impressive figure for something this big. But anyways, that's it for under the hood. Let's go ahead and close up the hood and take a look at the exterior. So starting off by taking a look at the exterior design. Even though this, of course, is a Highlander, it really doesn't look all that much like the current generation of the Highlander. Actually, if you ask me, it looks a lot more like a hybrid between the RAV4 and the Sequoia. But overall, it has a pretty handsome look, especially here in the front. So the grille design is quite large. You've got a small accent across the top, then you have the large fascia that runs through here. On this specific version, which is the Platinum Hybrid Max, we do have a silver finish through here, and we also have a silver lower accent for a more aggressive look. Let's also take a look at our headlights. And I do want to mention that this is 2.3 inches wider than the regular version of the Highlander, which is part of why it has a more menacing look when you're first walking up to it. But coming back to the lighting, this is full LED lighting, of course. It is going to be included on all of the Highlander models, and you do have your daytime running light and turn signal indicator right through there. And then down below you have your LED fog lamp. Taking a look at our wheels next, you do have an 18-inch alloy wheel or a 20-inch alloy wheel. Like I said, this is the fully loaded model, so this of course is the 20-inch contrast alloy wheel, which looks quite nice overall. And let's take a look at our mirrors. As you can see, they're mostly body colored. We do have the LED turn signal indicator built inside, and I'm happy to report you have standard blind spot monitoring on every single version.
Now this is the Grand Highlander, but how grand is it in terms of its overall length? We're looking at 201.4 inches, which is up about 6.5 inches over the regular Highlander. And you can really see that size just here in person. I have to say it strikes you as a large vehicle. If you're curious as to how it compares to a Sequoia is about 208 inches in length, so it's about 7 inches shorter than that. As far as the overall design though, you will notice it's a very boxy look, which I think is a good move by Toyota Toyota. A lot of people like that boxy design, and you're definitely going to find that here with the Grand Highlander. We have chrome window surrounds all around our bottoms, as well as the top is going to be a matte finish. We also do have silver accenting at the very top for our roof rails, and then down at the bottom we have rugged matte black plastic going through all of the lower moldings as well as the wheel archings. But moving around to the rear design of the Grand Highlander, you're once again going to see that influence from a lot of different Toyota models kind of baked into one here. I think it looks like a RAV4, kind of a Sequoia. I see a little bit of elements from pretty much every Toyota SUV, to be honest, but I like the way it looks overall. And breaking down the features that make up that design, we do have a nice spoiler up here at the top. Our brake light portion is actually going to go all the way across, which is a nice premium touch you typically see only on luxury vehicles. We have an exposed rear wiper right here. Also some black accenting going in between the taillights, so I like that it has a little bit of contrast. Grand Highlander is going to be stamped into this area right here. And let's check out our taillights. Our taillights are going to be mostly LED. So as you can see, we have an LED accent light going through here. Our brake light and turn signal are also going to be LED. And I'm not exactly sure if the reverse light is LED. I can't, of course, turn the vehicle on since we are in a studio. I'd say it looks incandescent to me, but don't quote me on that. Now, as far as dropping down to the lower area, you will notice we have Hybrid Max branding since we do have that new powertrain. And then all of this is going to be that beefy, rugged matte black plastic. Since we do have the Hybrid Max, that means that we actually have exposed exhaust outlets. That's going to be the only way you get those exposed exhaust outlets is opting for that higher end powertrain. And as far as your tow rating, you're looking at 5,000 pounds. Now this is a family 3-row, so you're probably curious about the safety systems for the Grand Highlander. Toyota is including all of your active ones as standard. It's their 3.0 safety suite, which includes a lot of advanced technologies. And if you choose for the Platinum trim level, that will also include a traffic jam assist. But guys, I know you're really excited to hop into the interior of this new Grand Highlander, see how luxurious it is, but also how spacious it is. So let's go ahead and get into that.
Now, as nice as the exterior is, of course, the big news is the big interior. So let's go ahead and get into that. First, take a look at the key fob. We do have a specifically branded key fob and standard smart entry and digital key on all versions. And take a look inside at that cabin. As you can tell right off the start, it doesn't really look anything like the current Highlander. It actually looks a lot more like the Crown than any other thing in the Toyota lineup. Now, as far as your different interior material and colors choices, let's start there. XLE is going to come with leatherette seating. When you go for the Limited or Platinum, that's going to come with real leather seating, unless you choose the Hybrid Max system. When you choose that model, since this is the sportier model, it's going to actually use a ultra suede insert in the center of the seat through here. You'll also notice in the seat, as well as all throughout the cabin, you're going to have unique bronze accenting. That's one of the ways you'll know you have the Hybrid Max. Now, as far as the seat adjustments, these are going to be 10-way power adjusting with 2-way lumbar support across all of the trim levels. But let's go ahead and climb inside. Now, this is my first time inside of this Grand Highlander, and I have to say it's a very luxurious feeling interior for the most part. Let's go ahead and look at the materials to start off though. Over here with our door trim, we have leather across all of the armrest portion. The top part of this is going to be soft touch, and it appears in this version we have something of a faux carbon fiber trim. I'm not really sure what this looks like, but it's an interesting design. There are some versions of this model, though, that you can get a faux wood instead if you prefer that. Yes, all 4 windows are one-touch automatic. We do have 2-person memory seating. Moving on up to the upper dashboard, it looks like the very top part of this is going to be a hard touch plastic. The more accessible areas are going to be a soft touch plastic with stitching detail. More of that unique trim running through there. And along the center console, we do have leather padding for your knee to rest against, and everything feels nice and solid even here on this pre-production model. But let's go ahead and fire it up, as in turn on the electronics and stuff, because of course we are indoors. Now, right as soon as the vehicle boots up, you will find a 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster. This is going to be on the Limited and Platinum versions of the Grand Highlander. As you can see, Nice large graphics. It's pretty much the same as what we've seen in the regular Highlander, which is a very good gauge cluster. Furthermore, you will have a head-up display if you choose the Platinum trim level. Now pulling back to the steering wheel, we have a nice leather-wrapped steering wheel, kind of some piano black accents through here, and then we've got the bronze colored accents right there. The wheel itself is manual tilt and telescoping. We also do have steering wheel heating. But let's talk about interior storage. I'm very excited about this part because the Grand Highlander, you're expecting to see a more grand amount of storage versus the regular one. So let's take a look. Opening up this center console, I have to say, this is humongous. The opening is not that large, but once you open that guy up, it is cavernous. It goes way down there and it's quite wide. You could store really a lot of stuff inside of that. We also have, of course, our 2 cup holders. We got a very big open area through here. So this side is the wireless phone charging pad. This is actually going to be standard on all models, by the way. And then you also have another side where you can store a second phone if you want to do that. Another bin right there. And then, of course, a Highlander signature element is having the storage shelf, and that is present here on the Grand Highlander, just like it is on the regular Highlander. Also, we have a dedicated USB port over there, which is something I've not seen on any vehicles. And then we've got 2 more USB-C ports right through there. Now we're in this console area, so let's go ahead and talk about this shifter. This is the latest electronic style shifter that Toyota uses in some of their products, as well as Lexus. Obviously the vehicle is not on, so I'm not going to be able to shift gears, but I can push the camera button, which is located right here, and show you guys the 360-degree panoramic view monitor. So this is the version where it just moves around the vehicle, but as you'll see, it's going to zoom out, show you the whole thing at once. This is included on the Platinum grade and is also available as an option on the limited trim level. Now we're already in this area, so let's talk about the climate controls. So we do have a 3-zone automatic climate setup. It's kind of inserted in here. I do wish this was the same color as the surrounding area. Hopefully this is just a pre-production item. But I do want to also point out that you have your 3-stage heated seats. That's going to be standard on all models. 3-stage ventilated seats will start on the limited trim level, which is your middle trim level. And let's take a look at the display. So of course, a really big thing is that Toyota has been improving technology a lot recently, and this is their brand new infotainment system. Standard 12.3 inches, so that even includes the base model. And you do have wireless Android Auto, wireless Apple CarPlay. You got the built-in navigation on this model as well. And overall, we've been very satisfied when we sampled this system in other Toyotas. Let's rise on up. You'll find the digital rear camera mirror on this version. And up top, we have a very nice looking, very large panoramic sunroof. This is included standard on the Platinum trim level. It's also available on XLE and Limited.
Well guys, this is the part about the Grand Highlander that I'm sure you are waiting on, the rear areas. Of course, that's a big benefit of going for a bigger version of the Highlander, is to get that additional space in the second and third rows. So let's go ahead and dive into that. Now, Toyota has not provided an official measure as far as the legroom is concerned for this Grand Highlander. We are very early on. This is a prototype model. We're doing a studio shoot as soon as it's unveiled. That being said, the current Highlander, and just the regular one, is 41 inches of legroom, and I do feel like this Grand Highlander significantly improves on that. I did bring my handy dandy ruler all the way with us up here to Chicago, and we're looking at a little over about 9.5 inches of space between my knees and the seat back, and this is adjusted to Drew, who is 5'8". I'm 5'9", so I'm thinking you're going to get quite a bit of a legroom advantage here in the second row. And it is worth noting that you can slide this seat forward and back. You can also recline it as well. And you're probably noticing that we do have captain's chairs. That is going to be an option on this Grand Highlander. You can also get bench seating if you prefer that. And here in the center, you will notice that if you opt for the captain's chairs, you have this little storage cubby here with 2 more cup holders, as well as a little bin right back here. Now, as far as the luxury amenities, that's going to be another thing that's pretty grand about the Grand Highlander, so let's go ahead and dive into that. So here in the center, we are going to have our own temperature adjustments for the rear, so that's certainly very nice, but you're probably noticing the buttons right next to it. That's how we have heated, but not just heated, we also have ventilated second row seats. Of course, that's something that's not available on the regular Highlander, excuse me. And the heated seats are going to be standard on limited trims and above. Ventilated seats are exclusive to just this Platinum model. Now, off to the sides of that, we do also have USB Type-C ports kind of flanking the sides. I like that design. Down below that, we also have a household style outlet, which will help you keep everything nice and charged up. Turning to your door trim, it's going to be a pretty nice one. We got relatively soft touch material. It's pretty hard though. And then we do also have rear window sunshades. Then dropping down, we have some leather trim on our armrest portion. We have a little bit of storage in front of that. And we're also going to have more storage down in the very bottom area, and it's a significant amount of storage. The moment of truth, guys. The Grand Highlander should improve a lot on the third row of the traditional Highlander, so let's go ahead and see what it's like. So in order to get back here, Toyota has made it quite easy. You grab this little lever right here that folds the seat forward and allows it to slide right out of the way. And then let's hop back here. Very, very nice. Toyota has... This is my first time back here, so this is true first impressions, and I have to say, this is very impressive. This is a huge improvement over the current Highlander model, so truly they are improving this third row back here. Now, we have no official specs for the third row. Of course, like I mentioned, this is very early on, but I'm 5'9" for reference, and this seat is slid all the way back in its tracks, and I still have, I'd say, about an inch or two of space between my knees and the seat back. My feet can also slide up underneath the seat, so I'm very comfortable. The thigh support is excellent, so I'd give this a very good rating. I'd say this is one of the best in the entire segment. I'd say it's fit for adults on our scale. Now, as far as features, we have 3 cup holders on each side of the rear, so I don't know how many drinks you're going to have, but we do also have a USB port on each side as well, and vents out of the ceiling. Now let's go ahead and check out the cargo area for this new Grand Highlander, because it doesn't just add space in the second and third rows, it also adds a lot more cargo capacity. So I'm very excited to share with you, this all new Grand Highlander has a maximum cargo capacity of around 98 cubic feet. Now, I don't have the specific measures behind the third row or behind the second row. Those will come out later when this vehicle comes to launch, but 98 cubic feet is a large amount of space. It's 14 cubic feet bigger than the current Highlander model. It's also going to be about the largest in the entire segment. I think it ties the Chevy Traverse, which is the largest in the segment. So lots of space. And if you're curious, actually, we looked up this figure. It's actually bigger than the Toyota Sequoia, which comes in at 87 cubic feet as a maximum. So that's your fun fact of the day. Now, as far as some of the features back here, as you can see behind the third row, we're having quite a bit of space, and then if we lift up the cargo floor, there's going to be maybe a little bit of extra space down here, enough to store your cargo cover. Off to the side, we have a household style outlet, which is really quite nice. No power folding third row on the Grand Highlander, but that shouldn't be too much of a problem since you just reach up and fold the seat like so. It's a little bit harder than it looks. And then, as you can see, there's your maximum 98 cubic feet of cargo capacity. And you didn't think I would travel to a media program without bringing my measuring tape. So let's see how much space it is between the front seats and the rear of the cargo area. We're looking at about 90 inches. Very impressive, guys. You put an 85-inch flat screen probably in this Grand Highlander. So that is very, very impressive. And if you're looking for the maximum amount of space, this Grand Highlander is definitely going to have that. But guys, you're probably wondering, we've shown you all the space that the Grand Highlander is going to have and all the luxury inside as well. You're probably curious as how much it's going to cost. Well, unfortunately, we don't have specific pricing figures for the all-new Toyota Grand Highlander. That being said, we've estimated just a little bit to kind of give you a reference point of what we think. This is our best guess as to how much this is going to cost. We believe the XLE will probably start around $45,000, and if you go for a fully loaded Platinum with the Hybrid Max and stuff like that, probably be around $60,000, which places it as one of the more expensive options in the segment, but do keep in mind you are getting a lot of class exclusive features as well as a lot more space than most in the class. Well, guys, thanks so much for tuning in to our in-depth studio review of the all-new 2024 Toyota Grand Highlander. This, of course, is a family SUV through and through, and we look forward to covering this vehicle in depth when this car comes closer to launch, which will be summer of this year. So stay tuned for that. And if you haven't hit that subscribe button already, we would really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. It really helps us out. It gets us invited to programs like this so we can show you all some of the newest cars first. Also follow us on TikTok and Instagram, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.